everybody and welcome to my channel. As you can see from the title, it's a little bit different from my previous videos, and usually I don't record at night, but I decided to share a little bit something with you guys. And heads up before we move forward, this is not going to be a religious videos. It doesn't represent any religious beliefs. It's purely philosophical, and I just want to share a very particular message that I got, and I'm pretty sure that it really helped me, and I'm sure that it would help some of you guys. And I do know that I have a large following of non-Hindu followers and subscribers as well. So this applies to not just Indians or Hindus. It's for anyone. It's just what I learned from this, and I just want to share this really briefly before I go to sleep, of course. So for those of you who don't know, this is the Bhagavad Gita, and contrary to the belief, the Bhagavad Gita is not the Hindu Bible. It is not. The Bhagavad Gita is sort of the dictionary of life. You know, Gita being a synonym for tale. It's this dictionary of life, and a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people who are Indians, who are Hindus, think that the Bhagavad Gita is the Indian Bible, and it's really not. We have a lot of things like the Vedas, the Puranas. You know, that's Shiva Purana, this Garuda Purana, which if you look at Muslims, they have this stages of hell. Even for Catholics, they have Dante's Inferno. It depicts that different levels of hell. And as Hindus, we have that too. It's depicted in Garuda Purana, where it's very vividly explained that every sin or everything that you do, in Tamil we call it pavam or pap, depending on whatever culture you believe in. Everything has an equal punishment for it, and in Garuda Purana, everything is just, it's orchestrated very beautifully. And this particular book, Bhagavad Gita, this version is a simplified version. It's not, let me bring you guys the original. This is the full on, like the full deal version. So this is a bit heavy even for me. I tried reading it, but it's a little bit too heavy for me. The language, and that is, by the way, in the Malay version, because when we got it, it's very hard to get hold of the original copy. It's super hard. So this is my personal favorite version. I have read so far until the 6th chapter, and these are markers for some of my favorite points that I have in the book itself, because I understood that there are a lot of things that I read in this particular book that really narrates our life right now, our norms that we are living through right now. And I want to talk about two books, and I just basically want to evaluate on and elaborate, sorry, on the points that I've got from that book and this. This is a Buddhism book that I got from while I did a visit to a Buddhist temple. Who is responsible for our problems? And let me tell you, this book has saved me from a lot of mishaps in life. This book has literally, so as you can see, it's not a religious thing. I have both a Buddhist point of view and I have both a Hindu's point of view. So let's look at chapter 6. Now, here we go, chapter 6. Now in where is chapter 6? Oh my god, here you go. Now chapter 6, it's about Dhyana Yoga. Now, for those of you who don't, let me read the header of it. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "One who is unattached to the fruits of his work, and who works as he is obligated, is in the renounced order of life, and he is the true mystic, not he who lights no fire and performs no work." Now, basically, what I learned from this whole passage, the beginning of chapter 6 of the Bhagavad Gita, Dhyana Yoga, if you read the Mahabharatas, if you read the Ramayanas, the one thing that is highlighted a lot is Dhyanam and Dhanam. It's basically two separate things. Dhyanam is basically meditation, and Dhanam is basically sort of giving back to the community. When farmers, for example, we harvest, we take from nature and we give back. We give back to nature. We have Pongal where we thank nature for giving us the harvest. We a lot of things that we celebrate as Hindus, we don't know why we celebrate it. We just do it for the sake of doing it. People don't know why you burn stuff for Bogi. People don't know why you celebrate Pongal. People don't know the significance of Taipusam. You just do it for the sake of doing it. And if you're gonna poke yourself in various places, but you don't know the origin, you don't know the meaning behind why you're celebrating it, isn't it a bit? I just find it very peculiar because when you ask most people who are Hindus, you, first of all, they don't know that Bhagavad Gita is not our Bible. It's not our Bible. So let me elaborate a little bit on what I understood from that. So when it comes to dhyana and dhyanam and dhanam, so it's two very, very separate things, but they both kind of orchestrate in the same spectrum where you give what you take. This is in the whole sense of karma and karmic yoga and everything. Because if you realize one thing, this is once I realized this with the help of one of my dear friends. He once said that everything happens for a reason. It's not everything happens for a reason and there is a reason behind it. It's a spectrum where there was a reason, there was this thing that you could have done in the past, that specific thing is happening right now, not necessarily holding a reason for the future. And that is the sense of karmic yoga. A lot of people think that karma is something like, oh, karma's gonna get you, like, oh, you hurt me, something's gonna hurt you in the it's not that. Karma is beyond. Karma is not revenge. Karma is not vengeance. Karma is wisdom. Karma is a lesson that you learn. And I learned through chapter 6 where they say that a man who is purely unattached from what he does, both dana and dhyana, both when he's purely unattached from that, when you work hard, when you go out of your way to light a spark in someone else's heart, for example, let's say you take your own effort to make someone else happy and you don't want any fruit from that. When you have this genuine compassion, because in the Bhagavad Gita, one of the passage, it says that Krishna or God exists in every being, which is why Hinduism, in its nature, it practices vegetarianism, because God exists in every living being. And then comes the popular thing when I usually tell that to people. They say, if God is in everything, isn't God in plants too? So how can you eat plants? Why are you vegetarian? Aren't you like, because plants don't have pain receptors. That's not religious. That's just purely scientific. Now, when it comes to, let's jump a little to this book, Who is Responsible for Our Problems? Now, this one that I really keep in mind that the main point here is being totally unattached, because I feel like most of the times in life where we do something and there always has to be a reason, there always has to be this fruit, which is why it keeps us so detached from the present. It's like you can never enjoy the present because you're too worried about your future. You're too worried about your past, and your past and your past is done and your future has not taken place yet. Yet you think so much about what has happened and what has never happened, and you forget about now, where you exist, where you are in right now, this plane, this dimension that you are living and breathing in. We let it go so much, and we dwell so much in the past and in the future, and nothing happens present. You think too much about what to do that you don't actually do it. When someone is dying, you don't say, if I save you, will I possibly get arrested? You go and help them, but you don't do that when it comes to you. You think too much. We overthink too much, and this has helped me. Let me read it from you. From craving springs grief. From craving springs fear. For him who is wholly free from craving, there is no grief, much less fear. It really makes sense to me, because we all crave the sense of validation. We all crave the sense of, you want to know what's going to happen, in a sense. And the fear of uncertainty is beyond anything else. It's remarkable. The fear of uncertainty is just so terrifying. It's so terrifying. It just, and I realized that coming from someone who has severe anxiety, the Bhagavad Gita has really helped me a lot from that chapter that I read. And let me read another chapter. This one, which is I think text 13. It's basically, this one is basically, it speaks about the whole, that circle that I talked about, the everything happens for a reason and stuff like that. And that entirety is the entire Bhagavad Gita. Like, if you truly understand the Bhagavad Gita, which one can never do, you can never fully understand the Gita.
Sometimes I feel